You see it everywhere. That little pop of blue in your oatmeal, the star of your favorite muffin, the blueberry. It feels so familiar, right? So simple. But what if I told you that little berry is holding on to some pretty big secrets? Yeah, I'm willing to bet you have a carton of these in your fridge right now. But inside that tiny fruit is this incredible story of, powerful science, some really specific demands, and a surprisingly short trip from being just a wild berry to a global superstar. So today, we're going to peel back the layers of the blueberry. We'll start with what makes it a legit nutritional powerhouse. Then we'll dig into its amazing health benefits, get into the picky nature of the plant itself, solve a common case of mistaken identity, and finally, we'll track its journey into our kitchens. Okay, first things first, why do we call blueberries a superfood? I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but for blueberries, it is absolutely well-deserved. And, the numbers really back it up. Just take a look at this. For 1 cup, you're getting a serious dose of essential vitamins and a really good amount of fiber, all for a ridiculously low calorie count. It's the definition of nutrient dense. That's right, just 84 calories in a full cup. That makes blueberries an absolutely incredible choice if you want a snack that's sweet, satisfying, and healthy, without weighing you down. And really, the secret sauce behind that superfood status and that iconic deep blue color, it all comes from a compound called anthocyanin. You can just think of it as the plant's personal bodyguard. And when we eat them, we get all that incredible antioxidant protection for ourselves. So, okay, how does all that science translate into actual, real-world health benefits for us? Well, it's not just about the vitamins. It's about how all these amazing compounds work together to support some of our most important systems. Let's start with the big one, your heart. The research on this is really, really compelling. It links eating blueberries regularly to some major improvements in cardiovascular health. So here's the breakdown. Studies are showing they can help lower that bad LDL cholesterol, the stuff that can clog up arteries. Other research points to a drop in blood pressure. But get this, one huge study found that women who ate blueberries 3 or more times a week saw their risk of a heart attack drop by almost a third, 32%. That is just astounding. And it's not just our hearts that get a boost. Nope, blueberries are now being recognized as some serious brain food. So those same anthocyanins we were talking about, it looks like they can actually cross into the brain and help improve how our brain cells talk to each other. In fact, a 2022 study from the University of Cincinnati found that eating blueberries every day improved cognitive performance in older adults. It really seems like they help keep our minds sharp. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The experts totally agree. As Alexis Supan, a dietitian at the Cleveland Clinic, puts it, that mix of fiber and antioxidants makes them one of the best choices for snacks. It's a simple, powerful thumbs up. All right. So they're amazing for us, we've established that. But what about the plant itself? This is where the story gets really interesting. See, the blueberry bush isn't your typical go-with-the-flow garden plant. Oh no. It has an attitude, it has some very, very specific demands. Which leads to the obvious question, right? Can you just run out, buy a blueberry bush, pop it in your backyard, and expect tons of fruit? Well, for most of us, the answer is a hard no. And it all boils down to one critical make-or-break factor. So before I reveal the blueberry's big secret, let's do a quick refresher on soil pH. It's just that scale of how acidic or alkaline soil is. And most of the things you'd grow, your tomatoes, your flowers, your lawn, they all like soil that's pretty much neutral, right around a 6 or a 7, okay? Remember that range. And this is what blueberries demand, a pH between 4.0 and 5.5. I mean, that is incredibly acidic. We're talking about the same acidity as like black coffee or tomato juice. Most plants would literally just shrivel up and die in soil like that. But for the blueberry, it's not a preference. It's an absolute must-have to absorb any nutrients. All right, you ready for another twist? This one might have you questioning every blueberry muffin you've ever had. Because here's the thing, it might have been an imposter. There's a ton of confusion out there, especially with its close cousins, the huckleberry and the bilberry. They look so similar, but there is one foolproof way to tell them apart. So yeah, taste and where they come from can be different, but the dead giveaway, the thing that solves it every time, is the color inside. A true blueberry, the kind native to North America, has pale, kind of greenish-white flesh. But huckleberries and their European cousins, bilberries, they're a deep staining red or purple all the way through. Just cut one open and boom, identity crisis solved. So we have this super nutritious, super picky, and very distinct North American fruit. How on earth did it become a staple you can find in grocery stores from Tokyo to London? Well, its journey from wild to world famous is actually way shorter than you'd probably guess. For centuries, blueberries were just a wild fruit. That was it. It wasn't until the early 1900s that this dream team, a botanist named Frederick Covell and a farmer named Elizabeth White, finally cracked the code. They figured out its secrets, like that crucial need for acidic soil, and they were the first to ever successfully cultivate it. And from there, its rise was just meteoric. It spread to Europe in the 30s and became the global crop we know today. Just think about that. The cultivated blueberry is barely 100 years old. So let's wrap this all up. What have we learned? The blueberry is so much more than just a sweet little treat. It's a true nutritional powerhouse. It's a surprisingly picky plant without non-negotiable need for acidic soil, and it's a berry with a very clear identity, if you just know to look inside. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. The next time you sprinkle a handful of blueberries on your yogurt, are you going to see them the same way? Or will you see this tiny, perfect marvel of nutrition, of horticulture, and a really cool piece of American history?